right. Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Always a pleasure to be back.
Today, we're going deep into the world of hip-hop, law, and a case that has truly captivated the nation.
Oh, absolutely. This one has it all, doesn't it?
We're talking about Young Thug, Atlanta's own, and the legal saga that culminated in, get this, the longest criminal trial in Georgia's history.
It's mind-blowing, and it raises so many questions about the justice system, freedom of expression, you name it.
Exactly. And that's what we're here to unpack today. To understand how a chart-topping rapper like Young Thug found himself facing RICO charges, usually reserved for, you know, mobsters.
The ICO Act being applied to a music collective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unprecedented and sparked a whole debate about what constitutes a criminal enterprise.
So for those who might not be fully up to speed, let's start with the basics. Who is Young Thug and what led to these serious charges?
Well, Young Thug, real name Jeffrey Lamar Williams, is a pioneering figure in Atlanta's trap scene.
Right. Known for his unique style, his collaborations with huge names like Drake and Travis Scott,
Yeah.
hits like Pick Up the Phone.
Exactly. But this story, it actually goes back years to 2015, when there were allegations involving a fatal shooting, gun possession, and drug charges.
Wow. So these charges were kind of looming in the background for a while.
Yeah, they were. And then in 2022, boom, the RICO indictment drops and things get really serious.
Okay, so let's break down this RICO thing. I mean, most people associate it with, like, mafia movies, not music.
I know, right? But the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, or ICO, is basically a tool to go after organized crime. It's meant to target groups that engage in a pattern of criminal activity.
Like a whole network of illegal operations.
Exactly. Think of it as connecting the dots between seemingly separate crimes to expose a larger criminal enterprise.
And they were applying this to Young Thug and his Young Stoner Life Records crew, basically saying the record label was like a front for criminal activity.
That was the prosecution's argument. And one of the most controversial aspects of the whole case. They used Young Thug's own lyrics as evidence against him.
Hold on, what? His lyrics. That's crazy. How can words in a song be used as evidence in a trial? It's art.
I know. It's pretty wild. The prosecution argued that these lyrics weren't just creative expression. They were direct evidence of his involvement in gang activity, violence, and drug dealing.
That's like saying Stephen King is guilty of murder because he writes horror novels.
Well, that's the debate, right? Is this a dangerous precedent that criminalizes artistic expression? Critics argue that it unfairly targets hip-hop artists, especially since their lyrics often use vivid imagery and storytelling.
So this trial was more than just about the charges themselves. It became a battleground for freedom of expression, artistic interpretation, and racial bias in the justice system.
Absolutely. And this trial, it wasn't just about complex legal arguments. It was also a marathon lasting nearly 2 years.
2 years. That's insane. No wonder it became the longest trial in Georgia history. What contributed to all those delays?
Oh, well, there are a lot of factors. For one, this case was incredibly complex. Multiple defendants, a mountain of evidence, constant back and forth over those controversial lyrics. You also had motions for mistrial, a change of judge.
Wow, so it was like a real-life legal drama playing out in the courtroom.
Pretty much. And remember, this trial also involved another prominent rapper, Gunna, who was signed to YSL too.
Yeah, what happened with him? He wasn't there for the entire trial, right?
No, he wasn't. Gunna ended up taking a plea deal. He basically agreed to plead guilty to a lesser charge.
So, in exchange for avoiding a potentially longer sentence, he got to walk free.
Essentially. He admitted guilt to a racketeering charge and got time served, meaning he didn't have to spend any more time behind bars.
So, Gunna took the plea deal, but Young Thug initially fought the charges. And then after this crazy long trial, he decided to take a plea deal as well, right?
That's right. After years of battling it out in court, he ultimately opted for a deal.
So, what did his plea deal entail? What was the final outcome?
So, Young Thug pleaded guilty to gun and drug charges, but the deal meant he avoided that potential 45-year prison sentence.
Wow, that's a huge difference. So what was the actual sentence?
He received a 15-year probation sentence, including 5 years that were commuted to time served.
So he's already served some time.
Yes, he has. And during the sentencing, he apologized to his family and friends for all the stress and drama. He basically said he never wanted to see the inside of a courtroom again.
I bet. I mean, who would? This whole ordeal must have been incredibly tough on him. So he's out now, but he's still under pretty strict conditions, right?
Oh, absolutely. Probation comes with rules and limitations. He's essentially trading his freedom for a chance to rebuild his life and his career.
Speaking of his career, this is where things get really fascinating. While he was behind bars, he actually released his third album, Business is Business.
It's amazing he managed to do that under those circumstances.
Yeah, it's a testament to his talent and resilience. So now that he's out, what does this mean for his music? Will he change his style, his message? I mean, he's been through a lot.
That's the big question, isn't it? How will this experience shape his art?
Right. Will we hear the influence of this legal battle in his future music? Will he become an advocate for criminal justice reform, maybe even speak out against the use of lyrics as evidence?
It's definitely something to think about. His case has really put a spotlight on some important issues. And honestly, I can't wait to see what he does next.
I think we all are. Well, this deep dive has taken us from the highs of chart-topping success to the depths of the legal system, and it's left us with a lot to consider.
It has. This case was about so much more than just one rapper. It's about art, freedom, justice, and the power of music to spark important conversations.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this fascinating journey. We'll be back soon with another deep dive, so stay tuned.
See you next time.